Welcome to Hanging Out with Howie. Tonight, I have a very special guest I have not seen in about 16 months. Last time I saw her was in Las Vegas. She goes by the name DJ Stardust. Welcome, Stephanie. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing really good. I'm excited to be here and talk to you. And like you said, it's been a long time, so I'm happy to connect again.
Yeah, it's the last time I saw you, I was rushing out to catch an Uber to the airport. You were with Diana, and I felt horrible after that because I was in such a rush and in such pain. We're like, oh, let's get a selfie, and I was like, oh, I really got to go, and so my apologies for that.
That's okay. Always next time.
There is, and there will be a next time. Are you going to be going to Expo?
I'm going to a whole bunch of places. I'm going to be in Chicago next week for the Marquee. Mm-hmm. Depending on whether or not I get this gig that just came in tonight, it's like a 2-day corporate event, the same days as the Atlantic City Expo. So possibility, if it's the right money, I'll miss the Expo. You know what I mean? But most likely Atlantic City, and then I'm hoping to go back to Vegas in February.
In February, yes. Mm-hmm. Well, you still have tickets, right, from the last one or something?
Yeah, I do. Yep. So hopefully I'll find a travel partner, and if not, I'm going alone. Either way, I'm going to be there.
Ah, wonderful. Yeah. Well, listen, we usually do this, and I'm going to ask, how did you get your start, and what was your inspiration for getting into the industry?
I think I was always musically inclined. I was always singing. And so, in school I was in chorus, and then, some of my fun times going out right around the time I got my ID, or even before that, when I had my fake ID, I would go sing at karaoke bars, and I made a lot of friends in that industry. So, one day a karaoke host asked me if I wanted to host one of his shows so he can kind of go off and do another one. And I quickly said yes, really without thinking it through. And then the day came to do the show, and I knew all the technicalities. I knew exactly what to do, but I was really scared to talk on the microphone. So the first day that I actually hosted, one of the guests, one of my friends from the show, asked everybody if they wanted to sing, and kind of got the show going for me. And that was kind of how I broke in. But I think being a solid regular, a singer at a lot of these venues over time, and making friends with some of the hosts and a lot of the singers really helped me break into the industry.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, I noticed, like everyone else, you went through a rough patch when everybody was on lockdown. But this past weekend, you were inundated with events. And that seems to be a trend. Is that the case with yourself?
Yeah, I'm in Connecticut, and we opened back up May 19th. Mm-hmm. And so from then on, I've not been booked solid, but I don't want to burn myself out in the first month. So I've covered a ton of different events, and it feels really good to be back into the celebration mode, and it also feels really good to make money again. And also to be physically active. I thought at first I was a little bit nervous about, standing for hours on end and, doing all that hardcore focusing, but it comes right back to you. I just did like 3 weddings in 2 days, and I was a little bit nervous about energy levels. I was nervous about details and maybe, messing anything up. And it's like riding a bike, got right back into it. The energy comes back to you. It's like you're meant to be there again, and it feels really good. And I hope everybody else is enjoying this feeling too. It's just like great to be back.
It really is. It's like riding a bicycle. You're right on with that. Now, I noticed something that you were doing before you started to get busy is that you were doing a lot of photo shoots and so forth at this mansion, and you were keeping the public awareness that, hey, I'm still in business, because a lot of people have gone out of business. Was that your strategy? Was that your intent with that strategy?
No, that photo shoot was actually, I was tagged in a post, and they said, Royal Beats Castle, you got to do this. So I signed up for the photo shoot, and then that same day I kind of made friends with the owner of the castle. And since then, I've been back with a few different photographers. You know, I would take care of my people. I feel like, you know, some of these photographers, they did so much to help me kind of launch me from an amateur DJ into a professional DJ. I mean, some of the photographers, just their headshots alone, I think gave me the professional image that my business needed. So, and I can kind of, you know, return the favor. So I was able to go back with a few different photographers, and we really did make the most of the time that the owner allowed me to spend there.
Yes, networking is very important. Now you, I'm sure, would recommend them. Are they recommending you as well?
Yeah, it's almost like we don't get to work with each other that much. Sometimes it's a price range issue, and sometimes more of a, you know, an issue in just personal taste in music or photography. But I highly recommend, even I don't even need to recommend the photographers at all. I think once I post some of their pictures, their logo and their information is on it, and their photos are like their calling card. If somebody likes their work, they're going to get that phone call. And if they're in somebody's budget, they're going to get that work. And I've been able to connect a lot of people that way, especially different photographers. Every bride or, you know, engagement couple is looking for photographers and videographers. So the more I shoot with particular photographers, the more I could just say, here's the work we've done, but also here's their wedding work, you know, and other, you know, categories that these photographers work in, because some of them are so talented in many different areas. So I'm lucky to even work with them.
So by being an ethical person and recognizing their talent and hashtagging them on Instagram and so forth, you're also getting out there as well. And it's a symbiotic relationship, wouldn't you say?
I think that networking is one of the most important things a DJ can do. I mean, it's nice to be known by other DJs, but it's also important to be known by the other vendors. So I didn't know how important in the beginning. I knew that word of mouth was really important to get started in business, because I was, you know, I had no budget for marketing or anything like that. So every event was like, you know, you better work hard. These people better like you. But the more I invested in the expo industry, in the education, bam, like everything exploded. It was like opportunities, and the network just grew so big. I mean, the very first person I met at the expo was Shannon McKinnon and Brad. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but they are two of the nicest people I ever met. And I see them, you know, online. I see them at the expos, and now I've just made friends, and they're in other states and such. But especially the women that I've connected with, I'm really excited about the women, and we help each other a lot. And, you know, we join the DJ groups. So really just, not that I have so much to say in all these groups or such, but it's just nice to be a presence. It is nice to put out some, you know, tidbits when I have anything at all to offer, but mostly I like to just, you know, pop in every now and then and see what everybody's asking and what the resulting answers are. And some of it's laughable and there's a lot of trolls, but I really do enjoy being a part of the DJ network in the expo industry.
That's interesting. Now, you call your company is Royal Beats. You use that for the karaoke and for the wedding as well, or?
Yeah. So initially I was called Rockin' Karaoke, and then it really just grew into like an all event DJ service. But then my background is in hospitality. So I used to detail events both in hotels and on yachts. So it kind of translated nicely when it came to being a DJ. I really was inspired going the wedding route and almost picking a name that was kind of more upscale, because that's kind of what I was going for. And I wanted people to think maybe it was a female Royal Beats. I wanted to sound feminine. And I also had females working with me at the time. So I became an all-female DJ service. And that transitioned over time into like my son working with me. So that I was like a family DJ service. And then now it's just me. And it kind of is, I think, stays that way with me bringing in assistants and people to help me here and there. But I'm not going to grow. I don't intend to grow.
You mean you don't intend to grow into a multi-op?
Yeah, I just want to stay solo.
Right.
I feel like booking, yeah, you understand. It's a lot of work to be booking people and keep people on track and making sure everybody's responsible for their gigs and the timing and the equipment. And I was providing all of that. You know, all the equipment was mine. I was doing all the booking and contracts. So it got a little overwhelming, to be honest. And I think once I did start focusing on myself, again, then I became interested in the education and the expos. And then I was able to expand my services by bringing in independent contractors. So if I want somebody to run my photo booth, I have somebody do that. But I have it available for packages, and then I offer the uplighting and such. So I bought the uplighting from Ape Labs so that I can run it myself with the little remote instead of doing the really high-tech DMX, you know, all that lighting, wiring, and such. So I tried to make...
You're talking about me now. I can tell.
Well, not just you. I mean, I really was interested in uplighting as a package because I saw like what the venues were offering. And even as an example, this weekend, taking a selfie with our bride and groom, we turned all pink and it was really hard to like make a photo look good. So I think that's what I wanted to offer was a nice, clear, like awesome option as opposed to some of these really like the venues that just offer you bright purple and pink and I have no control over it. So I wanted to offer a little something better.
I agree. I like to have control as a solo op of the lighting because I had a couple. Well, it was actually the bride pick the colors, and it was yellow and green, and I was like, "Are you sure?" And she said, "Yes, that's what I want." And it really looks horrible in photos. So I hooked up like you do with the photographer. One of the first vendors I get a hold of, and I said, "Look, this is what they want." And he goes, "Oh no, that looks horrible." And I said, "I'm going to give them what they want. They're going to do their first dances, but after 20 seconds, I'm going to change the colors. You know, because I do odd, even, that sort of thing." And I did what I have here: blue and magenta. And then I did a few other color combinations, and I did that for all their specialty dances. And at the end, the bride and groom picked out the colors that I picked out. They realized that, you know, yellow and green just look horrible for the photographer. So it was interesting to be prepared, like you said, where you would have control. I love the Ape Labs. I have them as well. But I also have a larger light show for, you know, specialty productions. But now, do you feel, this is my personal feeling, but I'm wondering if you feel this way, like the multi-op thing to me, and I've been approached, "Oh, hey, yeah, you know, do that. You can expand." And I'm like, I don't want a job. That's a job. I would have to get up at 7:00 and I'm going to be in an office and I'm going to take care of bookkeeping and I'm going to take care of who has this and, you know, schedule this. And it's like, no, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. Was that your thought process on?
Yeah, exactly. It was a lot of work. And I thought at first it was worth, you know, booking and getting the overflow business and then, you know, maybe taking a cut of the money. But again, every time you send somebody out under your business name, it's your reputation.
Good point.
And so it's really hard. And I did have I had a couple good DJs. I don't want to say that, but, and there's just human error, you know, sometimes it's my mistake. It could be the client mistake. It could be the other DJ. A mistake is made, but it all would be under my name. So the more bookings I got in some of the higher end things that I started to book, I didn't really feel comfortable passing it off. But now what I do is I take the gigs that I'm comfortable with and I found gigs that I'm super comfortable referring, and we don't give each other any fees or anything like that. We just refer business back and forth because I feel like this person is a good fit for when I'm not available. And if they're looking for me, that I think they'll find this person to be a good fit as well. So I think I've managed to find in different areas when people call me, I know who to send out, and it's basically just a friendship referral, and me and a few other people doing it. And I kind of like that better. There's no fees really to take care of. Some people kick me back something, if it's a really good gig, and that's always appreciated. But even keeping tags of who owes you what, $20 here, 25, I know that it adds up, but do I really want to hunt it down and keep track of it? I kind of don't.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't play the game, and I don't know if it's happened to you, but I've been, hey, if you, I can put you on my preferred vendors list if you'll kick back 10%. And I'm like, no, I don't pay to play. I do the same thing you do. People want Dancing on the Clouds, too much work. I have a guy that'll come in and do it. I don't even upsell it. It's like whatever he wants. I tell the couple that's what it is, and yeah, I don't play that game. What is it? We call it having a moral compass. If you're nice, it's going to come back to you.
Exactly, and I'm not worried about competition around here. I think there's so many different DJs, and if I pass off an awesome gig to one of my friends and they go and do an awesome job at the gig, good for them. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like we should all be successful, and we should all help each other be successful. I know there's a lot of competition as well. And I know some people find each other competitors, but I feel like I just stick in my own lane. I mind my own business. And I think, you kind of get respect that way as well. You're not worried about everybody else, what they're doing.
I believe that too. And as Ben Stowe has said, a rising tide rises all boats. So I don't look at people as competitors. I look at them as colleagues. And like you said, some people are a right fit for certain gigs. Now let's, you also do karaoke. Do you do that with weddings? We had a little discussion last week on here. It's like, oh, do you have that at weddings? And there's like, no, it takes up too much time because you really only have 2.5 hours of open dancing. What's your take on that?
I've been hired only, I think, twice that I can recall. One was a karaoke cocktail hour in which the bride and groom attended cocktail hour, and they kicked, and it was so much fun. And by the time the hour was over, like they didn't want it to end, but it's like, okay, time to go to dinner. But it felt like we had a really good time. The pictures were a lot of fun. And they specifically only hired me for karaoke. So I came in, set up cocktail hour, and left. That was awesome. And just enough and at the right moment, I think. And then I did another wedding where they had it during the reception part. And they only kind of specified maybe for like an hour. So during cocktail hour and dinner, we asked for everybody to sign up. And then we had it for about the hour. And then we got to the dancing. So I think if you don't let it get out of control and you keep it organized, it can be done the right way. But it is extra equipment set up, and it's becomes a little bit more of a job than it already is a job, but now you're like, okay, now I'm hosting a wedding and I'm hosting karaoke, and it's kind of two different things. Like you go to a bar, you host karaoke, and you're kind of a little bit more lenient and relaxed, and now you're in a wedding environment, so it's got to be done tastefully. You can't let people sing outrageous song requests,
right?
So as long as you keep it under control, it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Now you mentioned you were in the hospitality industry. Did you go to school for that sort of thing? And what did that entail? Like what sort of job did you do? Were you actually wedding planner type thing or?
Well, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I went into hospitality with the intent to be a travel agent. So it was 2 years, an associate degree at it wasn't a community college, but it doesn't even exist anymore. So 2 years into that, and then I graduated in 2000, but my teacher had convinced me to continue going to be a teacher, just to further my education and also have like a backup degree. So while I was in the hospitality industry getting the degree, I worked in hotels. Camelot Cruises was a thing around here where it was like Murder on the Connecticut River was like one of their commercials. So I went to work on that yacht. And so I was organizing weddings and detailing weddings. So it was like everything from the colors of the napkins to the placement of the tables and every little detail. So that really trickled over into being a DJ. when it came time to detail the wedding, it was like, oh, well, cocktail hour needs this, ceremony needs this, reception. And I already knew the whole rundown, but now it was just translating it musically, which made so much sense. And I feel almost a bit of an edge because I had already had those kind of sales meetings and it wasn't really being salesy. It's kind of like the technique where you're selling somebody something, but you're not selling them something. You know what I mean? It's like you're more of having a conversation and it just ends up that they hire you.
Yes, that's the impression I got as you explained that. And that's how I do it. It's if you can get on a conversational level with a potential client, they're more likely to book. And I'd imagine that with that background training that you had, you would be a natural fit for a wedding planning where, like, I know exactly, we really do know more what the client wants than they think they do, as far as like you went with details about napkins and things matching and just to give them that dream wedding.
Yeah, and you don't want them to stress out. So
exactly,
a lot of last minute wedding bookings, they don't realize how much they're taking on when they're booking last minute. So as I was sitting with a bride this past weekend and we were doing our second meeting right before her wedding, and she thanked me for making it so easy for her with everything laid out, and I gave her a couple links to get her started. I don't have the Vibo yet, or like that online thing where they sign up online for all the songs, but I do use like a DJ Intelligence link where it's like the top 200 and they can like poke through. And then I also created my own Pinterest page, so I've saved like games, intros, like a bunch of playlist ideas. So I sent them a link to Pinterest just to get them started. And that seems to get them to feel comfortable enough to get the outline started. And then by the time we talk a second time, they've got it completely filled in and they're comfortable with what we've done in a short amount of time. And that's really important too, because if I don't get to know them a little bit, I can't really provide, the vibe that they're really going for. I can play it in generic music wedding, but that's not going to give everybody a good time.
Yeah, you want that personal touch, but you want them to feel like you went out of your way to make it personal for them. Yeah,
exactly. Every wedding, I will never reuse a wedding playlist at somebody else's wedding. I might pick and choose songs and put together new, but I don't have like a playlist I go into a wedding with.
Yeah, here in the chill room, we affectionately call them McWeddings. It's like, I've done 2,000 weddings. Well, no, did you do one wedding 2,000 times or did you do 2,000 different weddings?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that I take pride in is offering really unique weddings. And I tell them to take my timeline and cut and paste it and pick it apart and insert things where they want it to be. And I tell everybody, a lot of people have been to weddings, 5 or 6 times a year. Some people sometimes only go once, but they go to once a year for 10 years. They know exactly what to expect every time. So if we offer something funny or unusual or a little bit out of order, I like to, give them that option so that, we're not at a cookie cutter wedding every time. And then says Royal Beats, that was so unique. They did this, or I want there to be something different that we did that they didn't expect.
I understand. Now, when we talked this afternoon, you have you spoke out there in Vegas for Disc Jockey News TV at our convention, and you do have a thing. But I don't want you to give your presentation away. But is there maybe a nugget you can drop here for the folks?
Sure. So that was about starting a karaoke business. And because of COVID, it was like, karaoke kind of became, taboo for a little while.
Right.
It's a lot of fun, but honestly, if you're not a people person, I wouldn't even consider it. You just have to have an extreme amount of patience. And you have to be good with all kinds of people. Like, people you'd never talk to, people you want to be best friends with, people, you may be intimidated by. Yeah. And it's, here's an example. this past Thursday, I did a gig, and it was like kind of like getting back into it. I haven't done it so much yet, but I made my announcement. If you don't want to sing, you can make requests. My name is Stephanie. Come up and ask for any song you want. If I have it, we'll get you singing right away. The next question is, hey, they caught my name. Hey, Stephanie. And I told them where to sign up and everything. If I want to sign up, what do I do? And then if I make a request, are you going to sing it? And it's like, oh, questions. I'm like, no. And then it's like, and then they're yelling the songs at me. I'm like, there's the sign up sheets, so you have to almost, it's like talking to children sometimes, where it's like, you want to just be like, snap at them. You know what I mean? Like, I just said that, but you have to be tactful. You have to be respectful. They have to like you. So it's kind of hard not to go into a mode where you're like aggravated. And, sometimes I don't drink on the job, and all these people have been drinking for hours. You know what I mean? So I'm coming in on a different page. So there's a lot that goes into karaoke. It's really like, if you can't multitask, I wouldn't even consider it. Like, if you can't remember things and talk to somebody and listen at the same time while writing something down, forget it.
Right. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for being on, Stephanie. I am so happy to see you working so much. I hope you get the gig, but I must admit, I will miss you if you don't make it to Expo. But can you give the folks out there, if they want to get in touch with you, your contact information?
Sure. So on Facebook, my business page is Royal Beats DJs, and my Instagram is at DJ Stephanie Stardust. My website is royalbeatsdjs.com. That's all of it.
Alrighty. Stephanie Rivkin, everyone. Stephanie, thank you so much. And thank you all for tuning in. And look, if you're in the Hartford, Connecticut area, you won't do better than this.
Thank you
Thanks
so
again,
much.
Stephanie.
I'll see you in Atlantic City.
Okay. Take care, all.